Okay, more fun with Adobe Audition. So at this point, everything in your movie is locked. That means you have the edit where you want it. You're not going to make any further adjustments to timing. And at this point, it's standard procedure to finish the audio mix by balancing the levels between the tracks and maximizing the overall amplitude without introducing distortion. So everything's locked and loaded. You've got all of your ums and ahs edited out, any hums, any weird things. It's perfect. Now you just need to really do your final mix, if you will. So we're going to finish this in Audition using its multi-track mixing features, and we're going to start by adding a sound effect to the final mix. So in the After Effects bonus chapter 6 that I threw in the trash and lit on fire, what we would have done and what we've done in the past is we've also added like a glitch effect to that introduction. So I'm just going to take you back to the home of this, and I'm going to show you this clip. I'm actually going to mute, oh it is, audio 2 is already mixed, so muted. So I'm just going to show you. This is what, notice right about somewhere in here, right there. See how it gives that old school TV like glitch, VHS type of a glitch? That was actually something that we would have done in After Effects had everything worked well, but as you know it didn't. So what we're going to do now is add a audio sound effect of like a static snap in this area. So that's what we're going to be doing. So from the 805 position in our movie, so I'm just pulling back about here, 804, from here to, it's going to go up in loudness to a peak, and then it's going to fade out by 905. So in a 1 second zone, it's going to get progressively louder and then softer. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to unmute all tracks and make sure everything looks good and ready to go. And we're now, instead of just taking a clip and sending it to Audition, we're going to export the entire sequence to Audition. So in our project panel, we need to go to our sequences bin and click on our final sequence, the one that we've been working on, the 05. And then we're going to choose Edit, Edit in Audition Sequence. So we're going to send the whole sequence over to Audition. In the window that pops up, we're going to leave the name as it is. We see where it's going to go. They've put an extra folder there, that's fine. Important that we have entire sequence selected here and that we have everything else checked as it is. So you shouldn't have to do anything on this pop-up window. Oh, I already practiced this. You're not going to get that, so had to practice it just to make sure we didn't have any crash and burns like After Effects, the one time that I don't practice. So basically we're going to get all of our audio clips exported and brought into here as WAV files. So this is everything we ever did, the audio for all of these interviews extracted as a WAV file. And I'm just going to pull this down so you can see everything in there. So there's a lot in here. All of the original media remains in your computer and is not affected, so don't worry. Now what we need to do is go and bring in that sound effect. So we're going to import it, File, Import, File again, and then from your multimedia folder, there's an audio folder, and then we're going to choose the TV static wave. That's that snapping noise that we want to bring in, and we're going to say open. And notice it's added over here to your project panel as the WAV file that it is. So right now what we're dealing with here is these are all of the audio clips that exist in our movie, and it brought along a video preview just so that we can see where our playhead is here in the audio track. What is the corresponding preview of video? That's why that came along. So this is basically our audio 1, which is our spoken word from the video shot. Audio 2 is the song instrumental, and audio 3 is the lyric version of the song. So those are the 3 audio tracks that were brought in. Our sound effect we need to put on a brand new track, so we need to add one. So we're going to come up to multi-track, and then we're going to choose track and add stereo audio track, this second option right here. And you can see a brand new track comes in, and we can throw things now within this timeline. So again, this is the timeline of our entire sequence, and depending on when things are happening, we want that to come in. So what we need to do now is take our playhead over here, and there's kind of 2 things going on, and it can be very confusing. There's this line, which frankly I don't even know what it's doing, but then this blue item with the red line is your playhead. So, and when I'm moving that, I'm seeing this move. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to adjust our playhead to be at 8 colon, whoops, so 08 colon, the colon has to be typed in, 05, and then hit return. So our playhead is now at 8 seconds and 5 frames. This TV static file we're going to take from our project panel, and we're going to drag it and put it anywhere in here on our timeline. It doesn't matter where, because we can move it. So just drag it in here. The duration is already set, and we can tweak that, and we will tweak that. So once it's here, we're going to move it so that its head snaps to the playhead. So whoops, it starts at the 8:05 point. All right, now we only want this to go for a second, so we're going to advance our playhead to 9:05, and notice it's hardly anything. So we really need to zoom in here to get an idea of what we're working with. So I'm hitting the plus key. You can also use these zoom keys down here to make it get taller and wider, but the plus key worked just fine for me, or the equals key. So this is a 1 second duration, so we need to trim it. So we're just going to go down to the bottom right corner here, and we're going to pull this back to snap it. So this is only going to be happening for 1 second. And if we drag over it and look at the preview in the lower left, we'll see that it coincides with the glitch static effect going on in our preview. So again, that's what we wanted to do. Now we're going to set our playhead at 8:17, and then you're really going to want to zoom in on this clip. So basically 8:17 is the midpoint of this 1 second clip. And we're going to use these little squares at the top left corner. You can see when I hold over it, it says that's the fade in, and on this side it's the fade out. And we're going to make sure that this clip is selected, and we're going to grab this fade in, and we're going to start pulling. And notice that we can do it with weird angles. We can have get loud and then flatten out, or we can just, now that I have it over here at the red line, I'm just moving my mouse straight up and down until the linear value turns to 0. Then I'm going to do the same for this side. I'm going to drag it over to the red line and then pull it up or down until my linear value is 0. So that's going to be a straight up, straight down. All right, let's see. One other thing that I forgot to do, and I just totally skipped this, I realized there is a yellow line right here, and when I hover over it, it says volume. If we click and drag on that, we can make it louder or quieter by dragging it up and down. We need to drag this yellow volume line down to -6 decibels, or in that close area zone. So we're just going to make this clip quieter than it actually is by bringing it down to -6 decibels. All right, we've done our fade in and fade out, and you probably also noticed the tooltip saying that if you wanted it to be symmetrical, you could hold Option, Had I done that, it would have done this other side in the same manner to match it. So clearly that's an option too. So we now have, this is our final audio mix. We have audio 1, 2, 3, and a sound effect. So we want to save this. So we're going to do a file save, and it's going to ask for a new name, and it's going to have a new extension, session, SESX. We're going to call this one Poolside BTS Final Audio Mix .SESX, which is for the session. And the default location is fine, and we're going to say OK. One or more media files is outside of the session folder. Do you want to copy it in? It's going to be this static one that we just brought in, and we're just going to say yes, bring it in. And it is going to make a final audio session right here that's available for us to use in our next exercise.